of fuel subsidy for 18 more months.
This extension will give all the stakeholders time
Hello and welcome to NTA Network News. We're live in Abuja. I'm Ian Ray. John Adeola Komiakere joins us from Lagos. And just so you know, you can follow this news live online on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, Facebook page, Network News, YouTube channel, NTA Live. Thank you for joining us. Now, the National Policy on Fifth Generation Networks for Nigeria's Digital Economy has been launched by President Muhammadu Buhari. Presenting the documents to the public, the President directed all the nation's security institutions to immediately leverage on the new technologies when deployed to beef up national security. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the details.
The national policy on 5G networks will, amongst others, position Nigeria to effectively harness the potentials of the new technologies towards enhancing the economy, security, and well-being of the nation. With trials already conducted in some selected locations, the policy, developed through a painstaking, inclusive, and focused process, was said to have effectively addressed health and other concerns. For President Muhammadu Buhari, the policy is in line with the commitment of his administration towards supporting the digital economy sector as an enabler for the diversification of the nation's economy.
5G technologies offer a number of benefits that can support virtually every sector of our economy. For instance, it can enhance connectivity, improve healthcare, support education, foster smart cities, and boost agriculture, among other advantages that it gives. It will also support security institutions and play a key role in boosting our efforts towards enhancing security across the nation.
The national 5G policy includes a deployment plan to ensure that major cities across the country benefit from the technologies, also described as a catalyst for smart cities and a platform for the creation of jobs.
We assure investors that we will continue to provide an enabling environment for their businesses to be very successful as we roll out this technology. I hereby direct the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy to oversee a multi-stakeholder implementation of the policy, and I also urge every stakeholder to ensure compliance, and I look forward to the successful implementation of this important national policy.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, applauded by the President for his commitment and consistency in developing Nigeria's digital economy, is confident that given the experiences from other countries and available research, Nigeria would drive maximum benefits from the deployment of the 5G technologies.
A successful 5G deployment globally will increase the global economic output by 12.6 trillion USD. It is because of this, Your Excellency, we feel that if we are proactive in Nigeria, we will be able to dominate at least the African market. 5G deployment could be the biggest revolution for our security institutions to make their work more effective. It will allow them to perform some security operations virtually without exposing personalities to the challenge physically. The same when it comes to transparency. It will support our administration in fighting corruption and corrupt practices.
He thanked President Buhari for his consistent support to the digital economy sector, as a result of which 1,667 projects were successfully executed and significantly impacting on the nation's economy.
As at August 2021, the sector remitted over 1 trillion naira to the federal government of Nigeria within a small period of time.
The national policy on 5G networks was approved by the Federal Executive Council in September last year, and each spectrum for the new technologies was assigned to the winners at 250 billion naira. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And away from ICT, President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed his administration's commitment towards ending open defecation in the country by the year 2025. This followed his formal signing of a pledge card, a commitment booklet prepared during the flag-off of the campaign towards putting a stop to the inhuman practice. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that signing the document signifies the president's readiness to give more political and financial support towards meeting the target of ending open defecation in the next 3 years. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu signed. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also signed the pledge card, while state governments are expected to follow suit as part of their commitment to end open defecation in their respective states. Meanwhile, the president has granted audience to the immediate past president of the Republic of Benin, Thomas Boni Yayi. Mr. Boni Yayi ruled the neighboring Benin Republic for 2 terms between 2006 till 2016. Details of his engagement with President Buhari were not disclosed. Elsewhere, some members of the bar and the bench are meeting in Abuja at the Justice Sector Summit 2022 with the objective of devising practical solutions towards improving performance, enhanced accountability and independence in the justice sector. In his remark at the opening of the summit, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo expressed the need for cooperation among all arms of the sector to bring about the desired goal. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has the details.
For many years and many
much hope and expectation are hanging on the outcome of the summit, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says, and promising that the federal government will continue to work with the judiciary in identifying and accelerating the needed incremental and substantial reforms in the sector.
I don't think that we can make a scapegoat of any particular arm of the administration of justice system. I think that it is clear that we all have blame, we all have responsibility here. We can do better. And we must do better.
Vice President Osinbajo speaks on appointment to judicial office in superior courts, which he says must go through process of evaluation and interview.
Also critical is the focus on the 4 or 5 clearly outlined areas, namely the establishment of a solely merit-based judicial selection and promotion process, some of which has been discussed in the plenary, a new approach to judicial budgeting and funding, and the all-important question of judicial remuneration and welfare. The involvement of the executive in reform is one, at least as far as this administration is concerned, that has been ongoing, and there have been several iterations of that effort. But I think what is important at this point is that synergy with all of the other arms of the administration of justice system. And I think that it is entirely possible for us to make a breakthrough now.
The elected legislators, the executive and the courts all have their role to play. Each must play that role in a spirit of profound respect for the other.
Enemies often give us rare opportunities to challenge ourselves and better ourselves.
There is a convergence of opinion of both the bar and the bench that the Nigerian justice sector delivery system is not operating at its optimal best.
There was also a plenary session on devising practical solutions towards improved performance, enhanced accountability and independence in the judicial sectors. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In other news, the National Assembly has rescinded its decision on Clause 84 of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2010 and passed the harmonized version of both chambers, which now provides for direct, indirect and consensus mode of party primaries. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onko has the details.
On the 19th of January 2022, both chambers of the National Assembly addressed the concerns raised by President Muhammadu Buhari on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2010, reconsidered and passed it. The Senate had adopted direct, indirect and consensus as mode of party primaries, but the House of Representatives rejected consensus. 6 days after, Both chambers have addressed the variation and adopted a harmonized version which provides that a consensus candidate can only emerge through a written consent of all cleared aspirants that they have withdrawn from contesting the said position.
Where a political party is unable to secure the written consent of all aspirants for the purpose of a consensus candidate, it shall revert to the choice of direct or indirect primaries.
We are very glad that we have been able to achieve this consensus between the two chambers to arrive at this harmonized version. And we are also very optimistic that Mr. President will sign the bill. Our desire is to ensure that we reform the electoral processes in Nigeria.
Senate has passed the Federal University Wokari Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Emmanuel Buacha, Federal Colleges of Education Act 1998 Repeal and Reenactment Bill, and the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill, while the bill that seeks to provide legal and institutional framework to protect witnesses, sponsored by Senator Suleiman Abdul Kwari, and the Federal Polytechnic Shagamu Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Olalekon Mustafa, passed second reading.
This is critical to the protection of witnesses' identity. Part 5 establishes a witness protection fund.
The choice for Shagamu as the location of this institution is born out of the fact that it has no federal institution of higher education in the state.
5 bills passed first reading. These include the National Agricultural Extension Services Center, Otuegwe 1, Obia, Bayelsa State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Bio Barakuma Degi Eremioyo. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly now, following engagements with stakeholders, President Muhammadu Buhari has agreed an 18-month extension for the implementation of the removal of fuel subsidy. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, stated this at a press briefing organized by the presidential media team. State House correspondent Dide Onifade reports.
The new Petroleum Industry Act, assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari on August 16, 2021, provides for the unrestricted market pricing for petroleum motor spirit from effective date of February 16, 2022.
Gentlemen of the press.
But the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, with the prevailing economic realities and following extensive consultation with all key stakeholders within and outside the government, it has been agreed that the implementation period for the removal of the subsidy should be extended.
This extension will give all the stakeholders time to ensure that the implementation is carried out in a manner that ensures all necessary modalities are in place to cushion the effect of the PMS subsidy removal in line with prevailing economic realities.
The federal government, it says, is committed to reviving refineries in the country.
There is already a provision in the law, but because Mr. President is a very human president and is concerned for the plight of our people, especially the less privileged, he believes that the impact that removal of subsidy will have on the vulnerable, poor and vulnerable Nigerians should be mitigated. And he believes that certain structures must be put in place prior to the removal of subsidy. All those structures are not right now in place. One of those is to ensure that the refineries are working, and you are all aware that steps are being taken for all refineries to be functional very soon.
The minister says necessary measures have been taken to protect the livelihoods of Nigerians. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And here's a quick reminder that you can follow this news live online on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, Facebook page, Network News, and YouTube channel, NTA Live. Legal framework for environmental protection underway as bill scales second reading at the floor of the Green Chamber. Details after this break. Please. Thank you for staying. And an update from our previous report on petrol subsidy. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has suspended its planned nationwide industrial action scheduled to begin 27th January 2022. NLC President Ayuba Waba, who briefed newsmen on the development, says the suspension of the protest follows declaration by the federal government that it has no plan to increase price of petrol. Joseph Otsen reports.
Posted at a breakfast by the Minister of Youth and Sports on the diary on Tuesday morning following their arrival from Cameroon. Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, First Vice President Nigerian Football Federation Shehu Diko, Chairperson of the Nigerian Women Football League Aisha Folode, and all other important dignitaries also graced the occasion. Diary in his speech commended the Super Eagles despite the team's early exit from the 2021 AFCON Cup of Nations in Cameroon. The Super Eagles were eliminated from the 2021 AFCON finals after going down to a 1-0 defeat against Tunisia in the second round.
We do sincerely apologize. That was actually AFCON shots built to come much later in the bulletin. The story on the suspension of strike by NLC would come much later in the bulletin. Moving ahead now, the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has inaugurated 11-member board of trustees of the Future Assured College, Maiduguri, with the call on them to perform their task with all sense of responsibility, commitment and selflessness. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports that Senator Kashim Shettima is appointed chairman of the governing board of the college, while Halima Buhari Sharif is to serve as the secretary.
The members of the board of trustees of Future Assured College, Maiduguri, the First Lady said, are carefully selected to oversee the activities of the college towards achieving the desired objective of restoring hope to the less privileged Nigerians and to advance the cause of humanity. The board, which consists of 11 members, has Senator Kashim Shettima as chairman, while Halima Buhari Sharif is to serve as the secretary. Other members include Professor Aisha Ahmed, Dr. Muhammad Sani Idris, Professor Abdullah Makagu, Dr. Hajo Sani, Asabe Vilita Bashir, Malam Hadi Uba, and Muhammad Uthman Al-Bishir. The rest are Hajiana Nashihu Liberty and Hawa Musa Ngoma. The Future Assured College was inaugurated on the 1st of November 2021, courtesy Aisha Buhari Foundation, to provide quality education to victims of insurgency in the Northeast and other vulnerable groups.
The completion of the college and commencement of academic activities indicate our collective efforts and commitment to advance the cause of humanity. Today, the Future Assured College has come to stay for good. I urge and pray that we all work together to achieve our dream of investing in our youths to secure the future and develop the community.
I want to once again register our sincere gratitude for finding us worthy to be accorded such onerous responsibilities. It's a pact between us and our God, and inshallah we shall strive to see that the investments that you have made in partnership with so many other organizations does not go in vain.
In the meantime, the First Lady has also received an audience coalition of stakeholders of the cancer cause under the auspices of the Nigerian Cancer Society in collaboration with OCI Foundation International. The essence of the visit was to solicit for more support of the First Lady through her advocacy to enhancing the awareness of cancer prevention and control.
Your Excellency, we have 3 humble requests to make of you today. Number one is saving Nigerian girls from cervical cancer through human papillomavirus vaccine. Cervical cancer, Your Excellency, is 99% preventable through HPV vaccination. However, the vaccines are out of reach for many Nigerians.
As the founder of Future Assured, I'm keen at working with cancer stakeholders to save lives.
The First Lady assured them of her full support, urging them to intensify effort to complement government decision towards addressing the scourge, especially the elimination of breast cancer in Nigeria. While commending the effort of the government for introducing a pro-health tax, The First Lady also used the opportunity to celebrate all cancer survivors and champions and wish them continuous good health. From the State House, Ali Kabir, NTA News.
We would now take the report on the Nigeria Labour Congress talking about the suspension of its planned nationwide industrial action. Joseph Otsen has it.
Of January planned nationwide protests and 2nd of February 2022 national protests by the Nigeria Labour Congress came as the federal government unveiled plans for removal of petrol subsidy, which will in turn increase the price of the product. But with the federal government yielding to the call to hold on the move, Labour says it is also suspending its planned industrial action.
We can end the scam of subsidy, whether there is subsidy or not, whether we call it subsidy, we call it deregulation, we call it fuel price hike. They mean the same thing, that Nigerians are going to pay more. And that can be ended if we're able to refine product for domestic use. So the approach of Labour, which we have remained very consistent, is for us to muster the political will to allow the 4 refineries to work and also encourage private refineries to also spring up.
Labour says it will be engaging the National Assembly to ensure legislation on subsidy removal to serve the best interests of Nigerians. As a major oil-producing country, Labour believes Nigeria will do better if the nation's refineries are rehabilitated to refine products in the country. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
The Presidency has advised Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom to face the challenges of governance and not to shift blames on President Buhari. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu, while reacting to Governor Ortom's comments on a television show, recalled that President Buhari, on assumption of office in 2015, inherited an empty treasury, backlog of unpaid arrears and salaries, but he confronted the situation head-on by coming up with the TSA and even gave bailout to states that could not pay salaries in excess of 1.682 trillion naira. And Benue State did not miss out on all occasions. The statement further notes that Governor Ortom has no moral justification to blame his predecessors or President Buhari, but focus on improving on the situation he met on ground. For Governor Ortom to claim that Nigeria will be rescued by the PDP and regret voting for Buhari is unnecessary because, as a leader, President Buhari and the APC respects term limits and the Constitution and will stand down next year at the end of a second democratically elected mandate. And even after President Buhari, Nigerians will not vote for PDP, a party that has failed the people and bringing the likes of Governor Ortom to its ranks, the statement added. In other news now, the House of Representatives has commenced moves to ensure provision of legal framework for environmental protection. A bill seeking establishment of an environmental protection board will give muscle to commitments by the federal government at the recent Global Summit on Climate Change. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali has the details.
The Environmental Protection Bill is sponsored by House Chief Whip Mohammed Tahir Mungunu and one other member. It seeks the establishment of an Environmental Protection Board to be domiciled in the Federal Capital Territory.
For the protection, regulation, management, monitoring and control of all forms of environmental degradation and enforcement of standards and guidelines on prohibition of pollution and promotion of cooperation on environmental science and technology.
The bill to establish Nigeria College of Aviation Technology, the bill seeking the regulation of meteorology under the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, and the bill to establish National Institute for Border Studies for the purpose of research were passed. Among motions adopted is the call from Representative Aisha Duku urging the removal of a checkpoint on Gombe Road. Meanwhile, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila has hosted the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association, during which a memorandum of understanding to strengthen law reforms was signed. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami SAN, says machinery are in motion to ensure the continuation of court sittings for prosecution of Boko Haram cases in Kainji, New Busa. He made this known while receiving the Nigerian ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Dr. Eniola Ajayi. Malami commended the ambassador for her tireless efforts and patriotism, recalling that Nigeria has cooperated fully with the court through submission of relevant documents, which eventually led to its exoneration. He noted that a committee has already been established for the domestication of Rome Statute in Nigeria. The African Export-Import Bank, AFREXIM, has assured stakeholders in the Nigerian broadcast digital switchover that it will work out a financial formula that will avail them with funds to continue with the digitization project in Nigeria. President and Chairman, Board of Directors of the bank, Professor Benedict Orama, disclosed this when Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed led stakeholders in the DSO project to the bank's management in Cairo, Egypt. Anthony Forsen has details.
The stakeholders who are soliciting for funds from the African Export-Import Bank are coming from a purely commercial background since government removed the initial subsidy on the project. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed gave an insight into the journey so far and the economic benefits accruable to the nation.
The government is not going to give any financial support again to the project, and that is why we have re-engineered and rejigged the program in a manner that it can be commercially, viable. However, that is not to say that the government will not support the project. And what we do to support it is in terms of legal framework, in terms of regulations, and in terms of policy.
For the Nigerian ambassador to Egypt, AFREXIM Bank is a bank to be relied on.
AFREXIM Bank has been playing a key role in supporting projects across Africa, especially in Nigeria. I'm proud to say that for the brief period I've been here, about 8 months that I've been here, I've witnessed not less than 3 or 4 projects in support of Nigeria's government effort to move the country forward.
Taking turns to make their position known to AFREXIM Bank on the desirability for the funds, the stakeholders were optimistic that the funds will be judiciously used for the purpose it is being sought for.
With adequate funding, the project timeline is expected to be actualized by the end of 2022.
The government has now designated the SCB market as retail. Before it was financed by subsidy. It's no longer subsidy. It's a commercial viable.
Many lands that are 24 hours and are available across the whole country. All of these channels are now available because of digital switchover, which means that more people get engaged with their television at different levels, at different times, looking for different things at the end of the day. So this will be a big and huge incentive for creation of new specialized channels and content and production of content.
At the end of the exhaustive engagement between the bank officials and the DSO stakeholders, President and Chairman Board of Directors of the bank explained the position of the bank.
What we are looking now to do is to work with the ministry and all the stakeholders, the private sector, all the parastatals under the Ministry of Information and Culture, to put a financing mechanism in place that will make sure that Nigeria is saved the more than $400 million of subsidy that we have been applied.
In Cairo, Egypt, Anthony Forsen, NTA News.
Back home, embracing new technologies and utilization of same towards solving Nigeria's development needs has been canvassed as what the country requires to remain globally relevant and truly the giant of Africa. Executive Vice Chairman, National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, Professor Mohammed Haruna, made the assertion in a keynote paper presented at the 3rd Nigerian Academy of Science Annual Scientific Conference. Justin Bem reports.
The description of Nigeria as giant of Africa is reminiscent of the country's vast human and material wealth. Yet, on the flip side, Global records indicate Nigeria is 74th in research and development and 155th in industry ranking in terms of preparedness to adopt frontier technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. These frontier technologies encompass artificial intelligence, blockchain, robotics, gene editing, 5G, and nanotechnology, just to mention a few. Nigerian scientists, like the Naseni boss, have often marveled at the opportunities that abound and the country's inability to develop indigenous technologies to solve domestic challenges.
To improve on the manufacturing and production processes and to have more local innovations in order to have competitive products. Other areas of our blessings are human capital, natural resources, water, forestry, soil, animal. All these require new approach so that we don't continue to do these trades the way our forefathers have been doing before.
There is light at the end of the tunnel as Naseni is leading the charge to change the narrative. These science professionals are clamoring for Nigeria to establish and sustain a competitive economy for the desired Agenda 2060. And they say this can only be achieved by promoting science, technology and innovation to fast-track an industrial economy. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
And away from science and technology now, Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Ganbari, has spoken of the need for public servants to discharge their duties with high sense of discipline and integrity for enhanced national growth and development. This was at the opening of a two-day workshop organized by the State House Management and Code of Conduct Bureau for Directorate Cadre Officers on Code of Ethics in the seat of government. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo brings us details.
The Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Ganbari, identified indiscipline and corruption as bane of national stability and development. President Muhammadu Buhari, he emphasized, attaches great importance to probity, especially in the public service, hence the need for Directorate Cadre officers to live above board and effectively guide aright their subordinates.
You have to make sure that you imbibe all the lessons that you are going to learn from here and make it a daily reality of your work. You are the cement of the public service. So your personal commitment to transparency, to equity, to integrity is very, very pivotal to the health of the public service. So that in the end, with your work, with your commitment, with your own leadership, you will help this administration, this president, really achieve one of the principal goals of his administration.
Permanent Secretary of the State House, Tijani Umar, urged participants to discharge their responsibilities with utmost openness and transparency, lamenting that indiscipline erodes important legacies left for posterity.
Let us put the Nigerian public ahead of us. Let us try to serve with the fear of God. Go out there and be honest and treat people with equity and fairness. It's as simple as that. If we are not held to account, God is going to hold us to account. And they say in God's judgment, there is no appeal.
During the event, officials of the Code of Conduct Bureau guided participants on how best to declare their assets so as not to run foul of the law. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And if you just joined us, it's good to know that you can follow this news live online on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, Facebook page, Network News, and YouTube channel, NTA Live. It's time to take a trip to Lagos, and Adiola is there. Adiola.
Thank you, Inyere. The safety initiative of the federal government on Nigerian maritime space has taken a new dimension as the National Inland Waterways Authority lays marine boats to aid in navigation and beef up safety of lives along the corridor. Managing Director NIWA, George Morgalu, after inspecting the lines, said the period of boat crashes on the waters will no longer suffice, as the authority will ensure compliance to safety. Abolade Salami reports.
The metropolitan city of Lagos has the presence of many waters surrounding it, with a number of it not put to maximum use due to fear of boat mishaps, lack of adequate safety equipment, as well as the use of refurbished boats. The National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, in an effort to allay the fears and doubts of commuters plying the water channel, embarked on the laying of over 22 safety navigation signs to aid captain of boats on the appropriate direction to maneuver so as to guide against high current on sea and any form of obstruction that may cause mishaps.
We want the waterways to be safe. We want the waterways to be functional all year round. So that is why we're laying the emphasis on providing what we're expected to provide, what we're expected to do. We're going to do that. We also use the opportunity to appeal to commuters. Make sure you obey all the protocols.
The navigation aid, covering over 24 kilometers from Marina to Ikorodu, has a space of 3 kilometers each in between to serve as indicators or description to captains who are not familiar to the corridor. While the Inland Waterways Authority says adequate monitoring will be regularly carried out to enforce regulation, an appeal was made to boat operators to obey all safety signs erected on the water channel so as to beef up safety of lives.
It's a welcome idea. We are very, very happy because that will at least reduce a lot of accidents that happens on the waterways by the boat operators knowing where they should go through. That is dangerous and that is very...
With the zero target of the authority to boat mishaps, management of NIWA says continuous enlightenment on safety will be sustained to build a vibrant blue economy. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
The new professional and ethical height that the Nigerian police seeks to attain is expected to start right from the process of recruitment. At a one-day sensitization workshop with stakeholders, the Police Service Commission says going forward, only the best from the society will be encouraged to join the force. Adeniyi Taiwo completes the report.
A sincere efforts should always be made to encourage upright, well brought up and responsible citizens to apply for recruitment and be properly screened.
That appeal by the Chairman, Police Service Commission, retired Inspector General of Police Musliu Smith, is the major agenda at the town hall meeting with stakeholders from Lagos and Ogun State as the process of recruiting another 10,000 constables into the police gets underway across the country. Noting that the recruitment offers the police a fresh opportunity to begin the crucial task of redeeming itself by attracting the best, Lagos and Ogun State governors say the society must get involved in the process.
Akabiesi's are violence. All our children in your communities, they are your children. And we believe that we should encourage them to join the Nigerian Police Force and the other armed forces.
The police officers present here, I want to let us know that a little effort can go a long way to change the way we are perceived by the public.
Interrogating why educated and responsible Nigerians are reluctant to join the force, stakeholders raised some issues of concern.
The Nigerian police rank and file, especially the rank and file officers, are left to fend for themselves.
As the federal government takes steps to respond to welfare demands of the police, the Service Commission appealed to other tiers of government and private concerns to join in the effort by providing incentives for responsible youths to join the force. In Lagos, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
And those are the stories from this end. You are still watching the network news on NTA. Remember, you can also follow this news live online on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, on Facebook, Network News, and on our YouTube channel, NTA Live. Well, we'll take a break. The news will continue with Nyere in Abuja thereafter. To stay on.
Glad to have you back. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank has again retained monetary policy rate and all parameters to allow sustained recovery. Reading the communique of the first meeting of the year in Abuja, Governor Godwin Emefiele identified inflation as one of the reasons for the committee's decision to maintain stance. Leah Katung Babatunde reports.
This is the first meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee for the year 2022. Predictions were that Nigeria will tighten policy rates, but that was not to be. Governor of the Apex Bank, Godwin Emefiele, points out the need to appraise the implications of unfolding global developments around policy tapering and normalization by advanced economies.
Those countries that are raising rates, or even if there are some emerging markets that are following them by raising rates, those economies are indeed facing pressure because they will, if they are not already, facing capital flow reversals from their economy. So we are not in that game, and that is why we are not following them in that direction.
The committee believed that the existing monetary policy stance has supported the growth recovery and should be allowed to continue for a little longer for consolidation to achieve the MPC's mandate of price stability that is conducive for sustainable growth. The committee acknowledged the success of interventions across sectors of the economy by the bank, with Emefiele confident that food prices will be controlled through fiscal and monetary measures.
We will continue to aggregate those rice paddies and we will sell them to millers, and we would like to appeal to the millers that they should also be considerate. We're going to look at every transportation logistics that they're looking at, but Nigerians must receive rice on their plate, in their dining tables or in their dining rooms at moderate prices.
The governor also disclosed that the bank is working to make the e-Naira transaction process easier, and already the NCC has approved 997 as the code for transaction for those without Android phones not to be left out. On fuel subsidy, MPC suggests a robust engagement with stakeholders to ensure a smooth process. In Abuja, Leah Katung Babatunde, NTA News.
Time for more business, and Benny Adams is here. Benny, how's the market today?
Well, Yere, the market is bullish. Welcome to business. Investors gain 6.06 billion naira as all-share index inched up marginally by 0.02% to close at 45,993.52 basis points, as against minus 0.06% depreciation recorded previously. 247.6 million shares valued at 3.5 billion naira were traded in 4,242 deals. Equity capitalization appreciated to 24.7 trillion naira. Market breadth closed positive as Cotville led 19 gainers as against 14 losers, topped by Silizin at the end of today's session. On the activity chart, Guarantee topped in terms of volume with 24.5 million shares and was followed by Cotville and Transcap. Seplat and Guarantee topped the market value list. That is business news. Nyeri.
Many thanks, Benny. Now time for a bit of politics as the All Progressives Congress APC National State says former governor of the state, Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura, is capable of sustaining the gains of the party when elected as its national chairman. This is coming as the party in the state endorsed Senator Almakura as its sole candidate for chairmanship position in the February convention of the party. Aliyu Tijani Muhammad reports.
The clock is ticking. Consultations and alignment among aspirants are ongoing ahead of February 26th National Convention of the All Progressive Congress APC. For APC family in Nasarawa State, one of their own and the former governor of the state, Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura, is in the race for the chairmanship position of the party. So, this convergence of APC stalwarts in the state that includes all former and present political appointees, members of the National State Assembly, among others, is to drum up support for the election of Senator Almakura as national chairman of the party.
That we have come in a clear term to endorse his candidature for the office of the national chairman of our party.
We want to assure you of our unflinching support.
Governor Abdullahi Sule described Senator Almakura as a Democrat who stands for social justice, progress and development of the society.
Nobody has come out publicly to say, I want this position except Senator Almakura. And that is the reason why you are now giving me the assignment to take to the national body.
More than 7 aspirants have indicated interest to contest the position of the national chairman of APC, and for the party in the state, their vote is for Senator Almakura. In Lafia, Aliu Tijan Mohamed, NTA News.
Another break is due. Please stay.
The resurgence of rice pyramid in Nigeria with the launch of Nigeria's rice revolution by President Muhammadu Buhari. That is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week with relevant stakeholders. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Don't miss it.
African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA, powered by Afrosports. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
President Muhammadu Buhari has wished Nigerian athletes participating in the Beijing 2022 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games success at the competition. In a statement, the president expresses the confidence that the athletes participating in the different events will excel at the competition, surpassing the previous record in South Korea in 2018 when the nation competed for the first time. As Olympic Games is a platform for closer friendship and cooperation between countries, the Nigerian leader hopes that all athletes in the pursuit of their Olympic dream will promote the core values of the game. The president also congratulated China on hosting the Winter Olympics and affirms the support of the Nigerian government and its people to China. And that concludes NTA Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. Please remember that rape is a crime. Do the needful. I'm Yen Wei John. Have a good night.